Welcome to Doc 9 Tech Talks. In this episode, our MD, Mark Lusted, is joined by Chris Woolnough, European Commercial and Strategy Director at Assurant.
Good morning, my name is Mark Lusted, I'm Managing Director of Doc 9. I'm delighted to be joined today by Chris Woolnough, who is European Commercial and Strategy Director of Assurant. And we've worked with Assurant for coming up to 4 years now, delivering digital platforms for some of their UK insurance brands like Protect Your Bubble, Assurant for Intermediaries and some others. And as a company, I think they're a great example of an insurer embracing digital change. So the topics we're going to cover today are future of insurance and how a large global insurer is adapting to what is quite a fast changing world. So before we get on to that, firstly, morning Chris, how are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me here. Good to spend some time with you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. So I'm great to speak today, and I'm missing the sun, to be honest. So it's all got rather damp and miserable down in Kent here. But how's it where you are?
Well, yeah, the northwest of England is very similar. Actually, it's a fairly rainy, grey, stereotypically northern kind of day.
How's working from home going?
Yeah, it has some positives and negatives. I think I think homeschooling is starting to kind of run out of steam in my household. Yeah, and hoping that the children will be at least back reasonably soon. But I think everyone's kind of getting into a bit of a groove now, aren't they? I think we're certainly finding that kind of there's a family groove of how things work as kind of I go upstairs and shut the office door at sort of 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm not seen again until night. It's kind of, strange world we're in at the moment.
Yes, the new normal that we're adapting to, but hopefully we'll get back to some form of old normal at some point later this year.
Hopefully.
So for those that aren't familiar with you, do you just start by giving yourself or giving us a bit of background about yourself and your current role at Assurant?
Sure, yeah. I mean, you've already captured my job titles. So I look after commercial and strategy across Europe. I've been in the business for 9 months now. And what I look after, as you said, the reason we know each other is I had the pleasure of looking after our B2C business, Protect Your Bubble, which is a hugely successful gadget mobile phone insurance company. I also look after strategy, which is really about monitoring trends, insurtech, things that are happening in the market, in the industry. I look after digital and how we digitize our business. I look after product and propositions, solutioning, business change, and I also help with some of our BD teams in terms of just that coordination of new business bids and supporting growth of our business. As I say, been here for 9 months. My background, I was previously the commercial director at what was Shop Direct, is now the Very Group, the large online retailer. And prior to that, I ran digital at MBNA, which was at the time part of Bank of America. And prior to that, I spent the majority of my career in digital and in strategy roles at Lloyds Banking Group. So kind of, have a long, ferruled, digitally mostly career in financial services and retail. That's where I've spent all of my time.
Cool. Sounds like you're a busy guy. Lots going on. In terms of, I guess for some in the UK that may be a bit less familiar with the Assurant brand, do you want to give us an overview of Assurant as a company?
Yeah, sure. And I guess, before I joined the business, probably not a business that I would say I knew pretty well. We're kind of one of the biggest businesses particularly in insurance that most customers especially have never heard of. And the reason is that, aside from Protect Your Bubble, it's pretty much all B2B. Our business model is really B2B2C. But we're not a new company. You can trace us back to the 1890s. We are a long established, stable company. We're a Fortune 500 US listed company. So our US business, I sit in the European part of our business. We operate in 21 markets. So, pretty much across all of North America, South America, Europe, Asia Pacific, all those areas of the world we operate in. And I guess in Europe, probably the main theme, the main reason people would know about us, and I think most people probably actually would be surprised if they did know, because you've probably all got products with us. You've probably got family, friends, relatives who've got products with us, whether it's with the high street banks. So we run a lot of the mobile phone insurance in most of the big high street banks, packaged bank accounts. We run some of the big network operators, some of their mobile solutions, whether it's insurance, whether it's trade and upgrade, some of their supply chain. In the auto business, we run warranties, extended warranties with some of the big manufacturers, those kind of big brands that you see on dealership forecourts. We would run those. And then across Europe, we support some of the largest retailers, some of the most well-known retailers in Europe, in the world. We run warranty programs for them. We run insurance programs for them, really all around devices, around gadgets. And kind of when I think about our business, we have three main areas that we focus on in the world. First is global housing. We don't really do much of that in Europe, if I'm honest, but global housing is predominantly a North America business line. Protects things, anything around the house and outside your house. So, catastrophe protection for the US market in particular, renters insurance, that kind of stuff. Then the second product line that we have, second big vertical is pre-need. Again, we don't really do that in Europe. That's really about prepayment of funeral cover, that kind of thing. We've got a big proposition in the US around that. What we do in Europe is really around what we call connected living. So it's all about connected devices. So if you think the cornerstone of that is your mobile phone. That is what we are really known for. It is our real kind of growth engine, is everything that's evolves. It sits around the ecosystem of the customer's connected device. So mobile phone insurance is the really obvious one. So, if you have insurance with us, you break your phone, we can, dependent on the client we're working with, we can get you a phone back in under 4 hours, replacement phone. But we also have trade-in and upgrade. So actually some of the big mobile networks in Europe, when you go and trade in your phone and you upgrade to the next one, it's actually us running that whole solution, not the network. So we do a lot of that. We'll do all the supply chain. So one of the key kind of USPs of us is we've got the full end-to-end stack. In not far from where I am, actually, in Staffordshire, we have a large device care center where we have a bunch of engineers who are fixing phones and doing all of that kind of stuff to get phones back out to customers. And then on top of that, we have what we call Pocket Geek, which is an app that is really about helping end customers with diagnostics of their device. Why is my phone running slowly? Is my battery used up? That kind of stuff, through to cloud, memory support. And then linked to that, we have a great product, really, as you can imagine, super successful at the moment, called Tech Support. Mm-hmm. And that is a 24/7 technical hotline. It's a chat-based solution. It has augmented reality, which is all about any issue you've got with any device that connects to Wi-Fi. So I can't connect my laptop or an issue like that. You'd ring through to Tech Support, and it is literally like having your own kind of technical hot desk right next to you.
Yes. Cool.
And the other products we do, one of the main things we're really known for is the auto space. As I say, warranties. We do a lot of extended warranties, big manufacturer extended warranties. We run gap insurance, and we run other products like cosmetic. So we run cosmetic insurance, covers kind of bumps and dents and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have a series of other products that really all sit around that kind of connected lifestyle. So we have a traveler proposition, and that traveler proposition is basically airport lounge access. So again, some of the big UK bank schemes, some of the network operators, they take that product from us that gives everything from airport lounge access through to vouchers in airports. Obviously, we're not seeing a huge demand for that right now, but as the world starts to get back to normality, that's a great proposition that just makes your life easier as you're going through that kind of airport experience. The most recent product we launched, which has been so timely, is a Concierge Products. Mm-hmm. So we launch a series of Concierge Products where we have accountancy, we have HR, and we have legal. And those products are essentially like having a CFO, a legal counsel, and a HR director mm-hmm. surrounding you. Particularly aimed at the small, medium-sized enterprise market. You pay a subscription. You can download documents, furloughing your employees, for example. But then you also get access to hotlines. Okay. We then bundle our tech support product. So, that's like access to a help desk. We add in mobile phone insurance. So you've got a great package really about supporting those small companies. And especially in the current environment, that product has been hugely successful. Yeah. And then the next area of focus for us, which we're starting to dip our toe into, is the connected home. Obviously, the tech support products we have very much supports connected home. Right now, everybody is at home, so that tech support product is working really well. But really now we're starting to explore how we can leverage all of the things we're good at into supporting the connected home and the connected customer of the future.
Yeah, so I mean, what you hear about Assurant, I guess there must be quite a fairly complex kind of web of systems and processes to deliver that globally, and I guess lots of opportunity for utilising digital. Before we get on to thinking about that and how you're adapting the future of insurance, so got to ask at the moment, the elephant in the room in terms of COVID-19, how is Assurant adapting at the moment to the challenges?
Oh, I lost you then. Sorry, Mark.
Oh, I think it's a slightly dodgy line there, but yeah, I was just asking. So
you froze.
There you go. So it's like wonderful Kent internet, but hopefully. So yeah, so in terms of before we get on to talking about the future of insurance, etc. At the moment, how are you adapting to COVID-19? How is Assurant adapting?
Yeah, I mean, as I said at the start, I've worked for a lot of companies. I'm not sure many of the companies I've worked in could have reacted as quickly, managed as well as we have, and I guess we had a slight head start because I said we have got teams in Asia, so we really started talking about COVID in January, long before most UK-based companies were looking at it, and we saw COVID basically come across. So we started invoking travel bans back end of January. And then if you think, probably the single biggest event in our calendar in a year is Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. That happens typically in late February. We were all scheduled to be there. That then got cancelled. That started to get real. And as the wave of COVID came across from sort of right to left, our teams in Italy, our teams in Spain, our teams in France really started to see the impacts first. I think one of the things that huge credit to the leadership team is we acted really early, and certainly acted in the most part. We acted before any of the governments did. So we had people working from home, significantly before the government imposed it. Before Boris's famous Monday night speech, we had people working from home.
And last stage before lockdown, we had a meeting booked in to come over.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was. Hopefully, we can meet when we're back in the office.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I mean, it'll be joyous to start meeting people face to face again. If anyone can remember what that's like. But yeah, we were acted super early, and we basically had across the board. We had people working from home. So we're really lucky in terms of our technology, but we're also lucky in terms of our operational team, how quick to act they were. So all of our call center staff, it took us sort of 2 to 3 weeks. We had all of the call centers working from home. Didn't miss a beat in terms of the SLAs that we provide to our clients. We met all of those through the process. And really only non-essential, the only elements of our teams who are working are those people in that engineering facility I talked about. So, we still have devices coming in that need fixing, and some of those are from key workers. And so in that operation, that kind of engineering center that we have in Staffordshire, we flipped those people to work in 3 shifts, 24/7, using social distancing, taking government and World Health Organization guidance. And we basically shifted very, very quickly to that. There's almost daily calls talking about the impact of COVID. And kind of one of the big things that we did was create a support fund. A lot of colleagues who have parents, husbands, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, partners, any of those who are going through financial difficulty, the company created a fund for those people, which has been donated from employees from the top down, and we've got over $1 million in that, so people are able to access help for that. I think on a more personal level, I think how everyone's reacted has really been through a fair amount of grit.
Yes.
I think we a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of bingo, a lot of pub quizzes.
Yeah.
Kind of this week we have Through the Keyhole. One of my team is doing through the Keyhole. We've done, Who Is This Baby? We've done a variety of those kind of bits of fun, especially, going back, 2 weeks ago now, we had Mental Health Awareness Week, maybe 3 weeks ago. Big focus for us in Mental Health Awareness Week. So we did a lot of drop-in sessions, virtual yoga, pretty much name it. We try to do things just to keep, it's a really tough time. And I know Zoom fatigue is definitely a thing. And so just trying to get people to kind of think about the future. But, I don't see us being back in an office for a significant period of time. Certainly, I think as the government open things back up again in all of the countries we operate, I think we'll give it a bit. We're not in any rush. We continue to deliver. So there's no rush for us to get people back in an office.
That's great. I mean, everyone was writing these, business continuity plans in years gone by, and I don't think ever quite there is in our one as well around global pandemic. What do you do? And it's amazing actually to dust those off, to actually enact them. And technology now does enable global organisations to it's quite amazing how quickly people have adapted. But as you say, I think it's a testament to the kind of the grit and resilience of employees as well, sort of working through it. So that sounds positive. So I guess if we think,
I think the idea, there's no real business continuity plan that was kind of built for the idea that everybody was. There's kind of, if you think about fallback centres, we've all envisaged this idea that our crew office, which is alert to the DR site, well, that's just completely gone. I mean, that has been, so I think people, and this is not just within our business, but across the industry and across industry, people have just reacted amazingly. People have really, turned it around quickly, continued to do things, continued to support people, and our teams have just been amazing.
I think it's also highlighted those companies that had embraced digital change a bit earlier have really kind of reaped the benefits during this period. So some companies, even that got kind of older call center voice systems, for example, that they just couldn't flip people to work from home without quite big re-engineering, that VoIP connection, these types of things. That I think it's probably hopefully put to bed the sort of debates around ROI on digital investment in terms of really highlighting value at the moment. So if we sort of look beyond the current situation, and it's really useful to kind of hear how Assurant adapting. If we think, okay, the dust is going to settle once we get back to normality, it goes back to, I guess, the big topic which we've been thinking about the last couple of years, which is the future of insurance. So certainly in the UK, there's been a lot of investment and excitement around InsurTech, InsurTech, these startups that are looking to kind of transform the user experience, reinvent insurance, using new technology to drive down cost and improve customer experience. Lots of exciting, discussion. Where do you see the future of the sector going? So, sorry about that, everyone. There's a few dodgy internet issues going on at the moment, so we're just joining Chris back again. So, in terms of the future of insurance, what's your kind of view on where the industry's going?
Yeah, so I think about it in terms of four key areas. So the first one is really customer trends. So, I was about to say that as a result of COVID, we've seen about a 25% shift to digital. So just naturally, we're just seeing customers, embracing digital. But we're also seeing a number of other trends. Key customer trend that we're really seeing is, and it was really happening before COVID, and I think it'll be even more pertinent after, is social and environmental consciousness. So kind of quite forward to that. I talked about, a big part of insurance going forward. How do we create that sustainability? When I think about the customer as well, I think about how we seeing that change to support the environment. So, you'd be unsurprised to know that a huge trend we see in the future of insurance is linked to electrification of auto. So, just a huge Teslas, as kind of one bellwether of electrification. I really think that by the turn of this decade, we'll be seeing more auto cars being sold which are hybrid or electric than our combustion engine. That'll be a real tipping point as we head towards the back end of the decade. And you imagine what that will do for the insurance industry when there's now electric vehicles. They break less. When they do, they typically a bit more expensive. So how do we kind of work in that environment? And how do we work in an environment where electric vehicles are being sold that don't have to need an oil change and that kind of stuff? It really changes the industry. And likewise, mobility itself, we're seeing a big shift in mobility. Will customers still own a car as they do today? Will there be subscription-based models? Will there be, pay-on-demand models? And certainly, as you think about inner cities have got a huge kind of had a huge impact of sort of COVID. People aren't driving anymore. We've seen the pollution levels come down, and we think that'll be a shift that will actually, continue throughout the decade. And so what does that mean for insurance? So, when you no longer, you've got a customer who's potentially shifting in terms of the vehicles they're using, how will you insure that person? Will you insure the vehicle rather than the person? Will it be on demand or usage based? So these are kind of a lot of the areas that we think will be real trends, and really a lot of them underpinned by the big technology trends that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So I can't believe I'm sitting here yet again talking about digitization. I feel like I was talking about digitization probably 15, 20 years ago, and it feels like it's a never-ending kind of trend. So it's as industries have gone, but let's be honest, insurance has been a bit of a laggard when it comes to digitization.
Yeah.
I remember online banking, back in kind of the mid 2000s, all we were talking about was online banking and growing online banking. Obviously working in retail, we saw a huge trend, but digitization is just, has not really been at the forefront of certainly the further back, the insurance industry, but it clearly will be, and it will be an absolute mainstay going forward. And for me, digitization is just empowering the customer to do what they want, when they want, right? That's simple. So as a customer, I should be able to do everything myself. I don't want to talk to a person unless I want to. And whether that's through an app, or whether that's through online, or whether that's through an IVR or chat, however I want to do it. And I think that big trend is something we're going to see. And so I think what links customer and technology in terms of trends is really that I don't think customers want to do any of the legwork anymore, right? And I think if I think about COVID and my own experience, I've worked with and dealt with some companies who really failed to do that, right? So if you go through the airline industry, there's been some awful examples. I know myself trying to cancel a trip, trying to speak to somebody, trying to do stuff. I'm happy to do it myself. This can't be cost effective for you. It's certainly not time effective for me, right? So I think we'll see that more and more, where customers will just demand that, look, some firms didn't do a great job of managing customers through this crisis. And some did. We've seen NPS scores just, record beating, because we've been there, we've answered the phone, we've met our SLAs, but we've also invested in digital. And I think that's going to be a huge, huge part of the future. And then I think linked to kind of technology and digital is going to be AI and machine learning. So, what does the future of insurance look like if we don't talk about machine learning? And that kind of, how do we move to hyper-personalization? How do we move to kind of a world where, underwriting is performed largely by machines with operators over the top of it? If you can take 1 million policies which claimed and 1 million policies which didn't, and then effectively look for patterns in the data, you're going to make better decisions going forward. And I think as we go forward, we'll see much more personalization at a customer level, whereas at the moment, most of insurance is kind of based on averages, right? So, it's kind of averagization is kind of the history of insurance, and personalization will be the future. So I think that's going to be huge. I think, the insurtechs, we partner with insurtechs. We see a huge opportunity to work together. I think one of the big areas, I hear a ton of insurance-based technology companies talk about they can go live in 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Well, so can we. And that's kind of one of the benefits of our company. We're very agile. Probably we're agile before people talked about agile, because we're only as good as our ability to work with clients, because with the exception of protection, we don't do B2C, right? So as good as an insurtech. So, we'll learn a hell of a lot from them. We'll work with them, we'll partner with them. But, those big things. I think the final thing I maybe mention is, big trend that we're seeing is ownership models changing. Mm-hmm. So if you take devices or you take homes or you take auto, people are significantly less likely to own their stuff. Those big purchases, and this was pre-COVID, we're probably going to enter a fairly deep recession across most of Europe, most of America, the rest of the world especially. So what we're seeing is, we think in the next 5 to 10 years, more people who buy a car will not ultimately own their car, right? So today, it's still, most people own their car, but as we go through the decade, most people will either be on some form of subscription, some sort of usage-based vehicle model, or they'll be on a traditional lease type proposition where they ultimately don't own the vehicle versus those people who do own a vehicle. And we think it's going to be the same with housing. So at the moment, today, more people own than rent. We think over the course of this decade, that will flip. We think that by the end of the decade, more people will rent than own. And we're seeing some similar trends in actual devices.
Mm.
You know, if you take some of the iPhones at sort of £1,200, £1,300 plus, we're seeing a lot of people looking at leasing models or some sort of different financing model where they ultimately don't own the device. And it's about that value exchange, about how they work and how we protect them through liability protection and those kind of items. But, you know, big ticket items, I think especially now with COVID, we're going to see a big shift in terms of ownership models as we go through the next sort of 5, 6, 7 years.
I guess if you think about those two verticals, motor and home, there are opportunities in terms of plugging into Internet of Things devices, or you think about electric devices, typically, you know, much bigger data sets and they're a bit more intelligent, I guess, more modern technology than some kind of traditional cars. Do Assurant have a telematics proposition? Do you do much in that space, in the motor space?
We've done bits, mostly in the US, to be honest. I think one of the question marks over an insurer doing telematics is kind of, what's the so what, right? Most telematics are largely, I think the future of telematics is going to largely come from the actual manufacturers, as in it's going to be their device, it's going to be implanted, you know, and effectively it'll be a connected car as opposed to kind of a bolt-in that your insurance company has given you. I think some of the apps that we're able to launch will have elements of connected car in them, elements of telematics in them, but it's a bit like what I said before, you know, customers want brands to do the legwork. Yes. You know, how many average people are going to plug something into a car and take the time, because what is it worth it, right? To me, everything will be down to that value exchange. Yes. And I think as you look forward, the probably the single biggest trend that is really going to drive that kind of connectivity is going to be 5G, right? So 5G comes in this year, you know, probably going to be a bit slower than it otherwise would have been. You know, the new Apple device is going to be 5G, and you know, 5G is somewhere in the region of 10 times faster than 4G. Yeah. You take 5G, you take quantum computing, you take machine learning, all of a sudden you have got a game changer, right? You've got that level of computational power, that level of data ingestion, that speed of network, all underpinned by machine learning, means that, you know, you'll effectively take a car insurance model as a perfect example. You know, if I've got we don't do it, so I can talk about it openly, but if I ran a car insurance company and I have my app on the customer's phone, so 5G is able to, you know, in real time process that data. Quantum computing, you know, back at the office is constantly, you know, crunching that data, utilizing machine learning. You effectively could price by the mile based upon how the customer's driving through that device, and link it to other drivers like them in real time, making pricing decisions. So that you can't do that without all of those three components. No. And kind of, so you can ask.
I think that might be good for some drivers, but not so good for others. I guess, you know, people that hide in the category of drivers that I guess a fairer world we're moving to.
Well, exactly, and I think that's the challenge, isn't it? It's going to be about choice. It's going to be about how does the customer want to work versus the averages. Yeah. I think that, you know, when you take that connected device, you take the connected car, you take the connected home, that's kind of where I see the big technology change of the future is. It's all going to be around that connected consumer, so that, you know, they are going to be connected. And, you know, if you take things, you know, GDPR being a key one, you know, it only works if the customer is at the heart of it with control over their data. You know, it all nubs out.
I think, completely on the same page. I think I've been to lots of Instech demonstration events and shows, etc., sort of looking at this kind of upcoming technology. And, you know, there was a lot of sort of excited new Internet of Things devices a few years ago. For example, you know, you could have an insurance policy where they'd come and cut a bit of your water pipe and put a device on it, and it automatically tell them if you have a leak, for example. Okay, right. I can see some good uses maybe in the commercial space, but, you know, it's that thing where sometimes there's technology looking for a solution. But I think now that it's sort of we've got through the first wave of Instechs, it's getting slightly more serious. The idea is that we're really gaining traction of definitely we've seen a trend toward partnership between incumbents and intertech startups as well, in terms of leveraging the interest in technology. So I guess that probably leads me on to my kind of next thought on this is, there's a lot of money being put into startups. There is, there's a real kind of intertech scene in the UK, I'm sure globally as well. Obviously, Assurant, you have lots, any global incumbent have lots of advantages, but I guess there's also challenges around, legacy platforms, maybe ways of working, and there's going to be a lot more competition from these, perhaps, what they pitch themselves as, nimbler startups. How is Assurant adapting to this new world and innovating?
Yeah, I think, I just add actually back to what you were saying before about some technology. I think, I don't think we would work with or see value in working with a startup or someone who's kind of come up with an initiative unless it's got genuine value to the customer, right? So, to use your example, if I think about myself personally, I would get a huge amount of value in, say, for example, an IoT smoke alarm that rings my phone if my smoke alarm's going off, right? Or an IoT house alarm that immediately WhatsApps me to say there may be an issue at your back door because we've just noticed the sensor's gone right. That's genuinely useful, and that is something, and I'd pay for that as a customer. I'd pay for that, right? And to your point, and that's not necessarily, as an incumbent, that's not necessarily something we're going to go and build ourselves. That there's a lot of activity. We probably wouldn't be the best at doing it. So as a big incumbent, as I said before, I actually think we're quite unique in it. We do feel quite agile. We really do. And if I think about, some recent programs we've launched with clients, as I say, many big insurtechs talk about, we can launch a new insurance business in 8 to 12 weeks. We've just done it with, some of the most interesting organizations in Europe. We've been able to do the exact same thing. And it's, I'll tell you, it's not been easy, but, we were able to do it. We're not taking 12 months. We're able to do things quickly. I think the key thing that we do really is, being an incumbent is, it's easy to rest on our laurels, but we really don't. So if you take my role, for example, I spend a lot of my time monitoring what's happening, talking to people in the industry, ideally going to conferences when we used to be able to do that, and just genuinely understanding. We do a ton of research. We're constantly doing customer research to find out what's happening, constantly trialing stuff. So if you go back to literally the first week of lockdown, we were the first UK insurance company, first UK warranty company to launch an electric vehicle warranty. We launched the first one in the UK, and that is a warranty dedicated to electric vehicles and hybrids. We were the first people to do that. So that's a real plus. That shows how agile we are. And there are more firsts that we'll do throughout the rest of this year, partly because we're happy to partner. So, a lot of the propositions I've talked about, many of them are us. They're entirely us, but actually a lot of the propositions that we sell are partnerships with other people, and we bring the packaging, we bring the distribution, we bring the regulated entity, we bring a significant customer service team who can really support if we need to. We may bring the digitization capability, but we're happy to work with partnerships. I think a prime example is one we launched, just a phenomenal company that I think is going to go great guns, a company called Kazoo. So Kazoo really launched in the UK just after Christmas to try and completely disrupt the auto industry. So Kazoo is an entirely end-to-end car buying experience, and I can say it with a fair amount of experience, having bought a car through that site. And the experience is phenomenal. We partnered with them for their launch. We provide a warranty on kind of day one of the customer taking that product. You basically have 14 days. If you buy that product and you don't like it, you can send that car back. But the experience is amazing. Future. So we may be an income, but actually we use those kind of methods to keep close to what's happening. We'll partner with those people, and we bring genuine consultancy expertise. We've got over 140 odd years of ensuring and protecting, and our key mantra is protecting what matters most to people. So we can bring that to an incumbent who may not have that experience. And so I think we really do see partnering with organizations, partnering with insurtechs as a real way of being successful in the future.
Yeah, I guess there's an interesting thing there. There's one is a kind of attitudinal, the kind of the drive of the company. The other is around process. I think it's interesting. We work with lots of different insurers, and some of the projects you mentioned that we've worked on recently together, our teams delivered in fairly rapid time. And I have to say, compared to a lot of insurers, you're fairly mature in terms of your adoption of Agile, and I think it's quite taken quite seriously at a global level. Have you got any kind of tips for those that are kind of not on that journey yet, but around how they can maybe roll out Agile within their organisation?
Yeah, and you're right. We do. We have Agile. I mean, we have an Agile squad right now focusing on digital enhancements in the UK. I think the number one tip for me is really it's about culture. The move to Agile is about culture, and it's something that has to come from the top. I've seen a few organizations who've kind of written some slides saying tomorrow we're all going to wake up and be Agile, and you're going to be a product owner, you're a Scrum Master, but it really you have to mean it, right? And to me, it's not just about delegation and then walk away. I've seen that happen as well, which is, all of a sudden we've kind of thrown away all governance and everything, and you're now delegated, and then kind of tell me when it's done, and it invariably doesn't work. It's about empowerment. And so the way I see us doing it well is having the right people, first and foremost. So we have a blend, I'd say, in our Agile teams, we have a blend of people who've been in the organization for a period of time, know the organization really well, but may need training to go on the Agile journey. Yeah. Plus bringing in expertise, whether it is Scrum Masters or product ownership or just training, who've got experience in Agile. And I think Agile methodologies to break down some of those barriers. The one thing I'd say would be, I think we are, and there'll be other people like us, but we are quite unique in that we face off to different clients, much like you do, Mark. So we may be Agile here, but over here, we may be doing something with, a large bank who may be waterfall. So we're flexible. I'd say, I don't think we'll ever, certainly in the near term, get to a world where we are prescriptively Agile. I think we'll be flexible. And part of that is because actually there's large elements of Agile which are just best practice. Why would you recruit really strong, experienced delivery people from an Agile background and then tell them to work in a different way or tell them how to work? Those are the experts. We let them run things. And so we do that. We always implement, delegated authority. So, when I think about all of the key projects happening right now, we may have steering groups for them, but we've got delegated authority, and that's what means we're successful. We don't need to spend, every month doesn't go to a board for discussion. Obviously some things do, but we want to have people making decisions. We'll use daily stand-ups. I joined daily stand-ups, especially on digital. But to be honest, lately I've stopped joining because, I'm getting in the way. We've got empowered experts, just crack on, right? And we do that, and we build in chunks. We've delivered stuff. If I think about a couple of big banking clients, which we've focused on digitizing this year alone, we've been delivering things in sprints, probably every 2 weeks. Some have been a bit bigger, we've taken a bit longer, but, the alternative to that, we could have stored that all up and gone live with one big bang. And we wouldn't have, we've seen, I said before, COVID, we've had about 25% underlying swing to digital. Those initiatives this year, which we focused on digitization through Agile, in the same period, we've added an incremental 50%. So we've seen a 50% shift to digital, a 25% on top, COVID. We've seen a huge shift to digital. And the benefit of having done it the way we've done it is it sticks. Right, so we're now giving customers what they want, and we've done it iteratively, and we've been able to measure improvements. We've seen when stuff's not worked. We've deployed things, and we've seen a sudden spike in page load time, right? To give an example, and we've suddenly had to pivot and sort out what we've done and get the page loads back. We've implemented analytics, we've implemented optimization teams, we've implemented UX focus, so we're able to constantly iterate, and I think that's kind of the main things. But I'd say, above all else, it's culture. And I think the other piece, having seen it in a couple of companies, is just cutting yourself a bit of slack about how long it will take to implement Agile. You need to pick a couple of kind of safety projects, right? Because if we're a big insurance business, we've got large systems. If you said, we're going to run a multi-million-pound system transfer, we've never done it before, we'll do it Agile. I mean, that's going to be a car crash. you wouldn't do it that way. You do, you learn. You learn, people are expecting a 10,000 page specification document. They're not going to get one. All of a sudden, it's going to be difficult. So we do it in the right places. And we do actually in our auto business, we have done big policy platform transfers, and we have done them agile. So that's because we have the foundations in place of knowing how to do it, and people are all comfortable with how it works. I think if you just flip straight to it, I think it's going to be a real challenge. It'll be a real challenge, and especially if it doesn't have buy-in from the top.
Yes. The other thing as well is if it's a silo team trying to work agile within a global organisation and they're just one silo, it just falls down completely. Because if every company doesn't, and you're trying to work in sprints, it just just not going to work.
And for us, it's a key strategic shift in Assurant globally is agile. We will work more agile, and but again, I kind of come back to it's just a sensible thing to do, right? And I think financial services, especially, has kind of been working agile for a while, because you've had product verticals for a while, because that's the way the regulatory structure works. So you think about a credit business, you have an underwriting team. So underwriting is a product vertical, and within that team, you've typically got analysts. You may have your technology team in there. You may have a PM in there, or something of the likes of a Scrum Master. You may have deep-seated underwriting capability and coding. You bring those people together, that's a cross-functional team. You've got a squad there already. You just didn't call it that.
Yeah.
And so effectively, I think actually in financial services, it's actually quite easy to move, because that's the way we've been structured for a while. And certainly in our business, that's how we're doing it. We pick, whether it's self-service in a certain area, and we have cross-functional teams who are empowered to go and kind of do a great job for the customer.
Another thing that I think Assurant are pretty good at as well is utilising usability testing, which I've seen throughout all the projects. So that thing of everyone that everyone has their own opinion about a project. The hippos in the room and whatnot. Ultimately, the customer's key here. So that kind of recognition, and build something small, go to a lab, test it with users, or might be more informal user testing. That's something that a lot of insurers still don't really do. And perhaps in your previous institution that you work within, often a lot of them still don't do that in their process, and that it definitely shows in terms of the quality of the experience.
And if you look at you're absolutely right. We do that extensively. If you look at my last employer, that's what Shop Direct, now the very group, famous for.
Yes.
We have an extensive lab. Everything is multivariate tested. Nothing goes live on without extensive testing to prove incrementality, with extensive research, starting with wireframes with real customers in a lab, in the office, where all the key stakeholders can come and observe. And I would say, if I'm honest, that's probably one of the singular measures and definitions of the success of that business, has just been customer obsessed in terms of testing A/B, multivariate, and seeing the incrementality as a result of that.
Okay, cool. I'm conscious of your time. I had a certain amount of time books in your diary. I think there's some really interesting kind of insights in there. I think. Is there any kind of last piece of advice you'd give, given your broad experience over the years, to any existing players that are looking to really take their kind of digital experience to the next level? Wrap up on final thought.
Yeah, I think there's a few pieces. I think kind of point number one would probably be make sure you've got the right team. There's all too often that you kind of say Jeff or Jill or John or Frank or Rebecca have been here for a while, they can run digital. Actually, you want to make sure you got the right people. I think that the second piece, though, which links to that, is making sure you got the right people who know how the business works. And actually, typically, a lot of those people come from a call center. If I think about our business, probably the majority of the key people who are driving day in, day out change, customer level change digitally, are from a contact center background. They know the customer better than anyone else. They know what people want to do, what happens. They're a kind of a bank of user research that you want to really benefit from, and you can pivot those people, help them with training, and really drive forward. I think that'd be the second one. I think finding the right agency or partner to work with, somebody like yourselves who can come in and provide a broader expertise, a capability. Recruiting in the market is tough. Getting good quality people who can help you with areas like UX, with dev, with testing, it's tough. When you get those people, you want to keep hold of them. And I think above all else, it's just setting that vision from the top, which is, here is what we want to stand for. I keep it really simple when it comes to digital, and you've got your front office, your back office, but if I think about the core, which is around customer, it's just empowering that customer by giving them what they want to do, when they want to do it, wherever they want to do it. So if it's on an app, if it's on a desktop, that's quite a simple thing to do, really. You just kind of tick off feature lists, build a phenomenal customer experience, communicate it brilliantly, and you'll have a great, digital capability. You can then pivot and focus on digital marketing. Probably want to bring in some experts to do that. Probably want to bring in an agency to help you. You can digitize your back office, focus on RPA, on automation, those kind of areas. Again, you probably want to pick someone who's an expert in doing that, can come in and help. There are many. And I think above all else, following those kind of routes, drastically increase the NPS score, your customer satisfaction. You're going to sell more, you're going to reduce calls, reduce your operational costs. And I think it's actually quite simple. I think a lot of people have made a lot of money by building up the complexity of digitization. I think it's, we're all customers of some company. We know what we like. And for me, I don't want to have to talk to somebody unless I have to, right? And if that experience is brilliant, I'll go back to it time and time again, and I'll stick with that company. Too many companies make it too hard to do stuff. So if there's one thing we'll do, and I'd advise other people to do, is just remove those barriers, remove the blockers, and just help customers to solve things for themselves. Because, I don't think there's many people wake up in the morning and think, God, I'm really looking forward to dealing with my insurance company today. We're kind of, what's important is that we protect you, that the stuff you love is protected. And if the worst should happen, it should be dead straightforward, and we help you, get you back, get your phone back with you, get your car fixed, get you on holiday, wherever it is. You don't want to have to be spending 5-6 hours on the phone to kind of go from pillar to post to fix it, right? And I think as long as you take a customer-centered approach, I think most firms will struggle to fail.
Good. That's a good message to end for today then. But cool. So Chris, thanks a lot for your time today. Really appreciate it. And yeah, so hopefully we can meet up in the, maybe before year end. Yeah, thanks a lot for your time, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Thanks.